The other day, as she was reading something online, Zinnia asked me my opinion on the question of why people seem to be more supportive of LGBT activism than feminism. At first, I gave the simplest answer I could think of. A cis, straight person can support the rights of LGBT people and then never, or very rarely, be personally affected by that support. They may never knowingly encounter a trans person or be invited to a same-sex wedding ceremony. If they work for a smaller company, they may never encounter an LGBT person at work, and even if they work for a larger company, they may never encounter one who is out. They may have no LGBT people in their family. It's not so simple to avoid women. To support equal treatment of women is to admit that you're a part of a system that disadvantages your mothers, sisters, daughters, and possibly significant others. If you're a woman, it's to admit that your fathers, brothers, sons, and possibly significant others are benefiting from a system that gives to them at your expense, and that most of them are either willfully ignoring this fact or actively maintaining the status quo. Feminism means acknowledging harsh realities about people you love. LGBT activism may or may not do the same. Naturally, Zinnia thought this would be an excellent topic for me to discuss on my monthly contribution to her channel, as her videos about LGBT activism, however abrasive, are significantly more liked than anything either she or I can say about feminism. So I spent a lot more time thinking about it. I realized my original thoughts were correct, but incomplete. While the current incarnation of feminism are regarded as either angry fringe movements or overplayed songs of the past, it certainly did have its day in the sun. The 19th Amendment, passed in 1919, guaranteeing the women the right to vote, was the beginning of a century of notable advancement for women. In 1969, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed Executive Order 11375, banning discrimination based on sex in federal workforce hiring decisions. 1972 brought us Title IX, which entitled women to equal educational opportunities and finally ended the tyranny of enforced sex discrimination in education. And 1973 brought us the infamous Roe v. Wade, which entitled women to medical and reproductive privacy. These things did not happen with the support of only a few. These things happened with the support of a majority. Yes, believe it or not, at one point, the majority of the United States was identifying and voting feminist. Currently, LGBT activism is in its heyday. Friends, we just eliminated Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Countries all over the world are legalizing gay marriage. States all over the Union they're trying. President Obama is the first president of the United States to endorse gay marriage. For the first time in history, polls are showing overwhelming support for LGBT rights. The standards of care for trans people is improving, with many countries in the world providing full and free access to the medical transition, and even the United States, it is getting easier. Progress is being made, but we're nowhere near done. Employment non-discrimination for all gender and sexual minorities needs to be enforced on the federal level. DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, which makes it so that same-sex marriages, even in states where they are legal, are considered invalid outside of the state and are ineligible for federal benefits, is probably next on the chopping block. But it's still there. Access to medical transition needs to be as guaranteed as access to any other valid and necessary treatment guaranteed by the American health insurance companies. Laws governing the ability to change one's legal gender status are being liberalized in many states, but have fallen backwards in others. Our battle for legal equality is in full force, and we're on the winning team. Of course it's easy to support it. Since the civil rights movements in the 1960s, it would seem that at least for the United States, legal equality is nearly a solved problem. Precedence has been set in the Supreme Court time and again. All we need are the right lawyers and time. For Americans, this is a point of pride, and the majority, however slim, is happy to join us. But what happens to equal right movements when their battles are won? When the privileged majority declares the problem sorted and moves on to another cause du jour? When, instead of cookies and claps on the back, cis, straight, white men still have to hear about how people of color are overwhelmingly impoverished and imprisoned, women still can't make a buck in spite of eager and overwhelming academic achievement, are getting raped left and right, and are slowly losing their reproductive rights, or the gender and sexual minorities are still forced into conversion therapy and sometimes homelessness. It's an inevitable aspect of the human condition that we cheer for the winning teams, donate to the popular charities, save the cuter animals. Legal equality is a popular fight and a solved problem, but social equality is what Americans do worst. In time, like feminism, black power, and any number of fights for real equality, LGBT activism will peter out. The work will be left to those of us affected the most and ignored by those of us affected the least. All the fun activism will be over, and we'll be left with issues people won't want to face. The primary discrimination affecting our lives will be difficult pills for allies to swallow. Arguments about very real pay gaps between straight and gay people will become as unpopular as arguments about pay gaps between men and women. Attempts to explain how gay people getting a leading edge in, say, interior design actually limits people's perceptions of our capabilities will roll as many eyes as arguments that it doesn't help black people to say they're better in sports or women to say they're better at nursing. We'll scowl over statistics that show our disadvantages while the majority ignores us and wonder when it ever got to be so uncool to be LGBT.